Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Simply Colorful FiberCast. Today's date is April 20th, 2018. My name is Lynn and I'm your host. And I'm so glad you could be here for clue number 2 of our Spring Fling mystery quilt. I hope you're quilting along with me. It's going to be fun, and with us, because there are a group of us doing it. Today's clue is a two-parter. We're going to be making blocks Roman numeral 2A and Roman numeral 2B. And yes, they are triangles. And yes, I'm not great with triangles, and there are lots of ways to do it. So let's start from the beginning. Everyone grab your project and let's see what we can get done together in 60 minutes. It's always amazing what we can accomplish, right? These are the 3 colors I'm using. They are D, E, and C. D, C, and E. My magenta is my E. I'm loving playing with these solids. I hope you are too. Hi, Allie down under. It's nice to know that you're home and pulling out your fabrics. It's so nice to hear from everyone and hear how you're all playing along. By the way, send your emails or your pictures to lynn@simplycolorful.com or post them on the Facebook page, the Simply Colorful Mystery Quilt-Along. So, first off, clue number 2 follows after clue number 1. If you didn't do this last week, I highly recommend using your swatch sheet. This came in clue number 1, and you have to pick 9 materials, 9 colors, cut out a swatch sheet so you know which letters correspond to which fabric. That will help you a lot. So clue number 2, there is, I forgot. So I do have one change to tell you about on the clue from last week. I have had a lot going on. It's no excuse for goofing things up, but what I discovered is when I was writing clue 2 that I had written down the wrong size of the finished quilt. So I've actually posted a revised clue 1. You don't have to change a thing of what you've done. Everything stays the same. I just want to set the expectation that the quilts that you're making, depending on the size you picked, will actually be smaller than I first said. For example, what I thought was going to be a throw size of 68 inches by 68 inches is only going to be 51 inches by 51 inches. So it's really like a baby quilt. Similarly, the twin size is now down to a lap size, and that one will be 60 by 69. So I changed those sizes. Again, the number of squares you need doesn't change. It's just the size of the quilt. The amount of yardage you need doesn't change. It's just the size of the quilt. So anyway, there's that. Quilt. This clue is really short because it doesn't get into the specifics of how to make your blocks. So I want everyone to pull out a pencil, and I'm going to give you a couple of very important measurements. Again, we're making these 2 blocks. And there is a foundation paper piece pattern on the 3rd page. If you want to do a paper piece, you can do it. Again, the finished square will measure at 3 inches, so it's 3.5 inches unfinished. Here's the thing. If you want to cut out, using a rotary cutter, the big-sized triangle, and there are so many ways to make triangles, and Kelsey Ullman from Blueberry Lane does a marvelous tutorial on all of the different ways to do it. In fact, if you have a guild that wants to learn this, I highly recommend bringing her in to do it. It's a great little show. But if you want to do it the old-fashioned way and cut using your rotary cutter, here are the numbers to write down. Start with a strip piece of 3 7/8 inches. And then cut it into squares, 3 7/8, and cut on the side, and you get these. Those are the big triangles. To make your little triangles, you want to cut a piece 4 3/16 in width. And we'll do one here so you see it. And then cut it into fourths, and that makes each of these 2. Okay? So strips in your E fabric, you need 3 7/8 strips. In your D and C and E fabric, you need some strips in 4 3/16. Clear as mud, right? Okay. It really is once we get going. And I did cut some to start with. Now, I also thought, oh, show them some fancy rulers. You don't have to do it the old-fashioned way. So, of course, after 10 minutes of looking for my rulers, I thought maybe you all could relate to this. Hang on. Here are my rulers. I have a lot of rulers and not one of them works. I've got a nice, this is a cute little 4-incher, 4x4. Let's see. This is, oh, a Dear Jane square. So it helps you create your 4.5-inch blocks finished. So it's actually 5 inches by 5 inches. Speaking of Dear Jane, here is the triangle ruler. Everyone needs one, right? Oh, hello. Who's out there? Oh, Jean says all 4 girls just walked in the door to surprise her. Uh-oh. Happy birthday. Okay. So here is a Quilter's Rule mini triangle. Here's a Rex tool from simplicity.com. Here's an Omni grip, not even opened, that is 5 inches by 5 inches. This is a tri tool. This might, no, this is an equilateral triangle. We're making 90-degree triangles. What are those called? Right triangles. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Write that down. Oh, this is a nice little one. My add a quarter ruler. They're dusty too. These all should be hanging up. This one is unfinished. This is the bias ruler by TQM Products. We should probably give this away. We should definitely do this. Let's do a poll next week. We'll do a poll for that one. Oh, here's a good one. Another OmniGrid 3-incher. Oh, here's another big one. Check this out. Oh, maybe it's, oh no. So if you want to put it in your bag, you can just plop it in your bag and carry it with you. More of the same bias rulers. We've got making heart stencils. We've got a circle cut. I have no idea where these came from. Maybe Karen Bronson's mother. Oh, this is cool. You can make a 10-inch finished circle, 9-inch, 8-inch, 7-inch. And then, of course, my 2 handy-dandy squares. I do use these quite a bit. But why do you need 2? I only use 1 at a time. Anywho, it's like utensils at your home, right? In your kitchen. Why do you need 2 peelers, vegetable peelers, when you only use 1 at a time, really? So anyway, if anyone has any triangle tools and rulers that they want to use, go for it. I am only making, for right now, I think I'm going to make a bigger one. I'm making the baby-sized one. And last week I finished my 9 patches. You can see up there. And it matches. So I had that fabric over there, the Tula Pink. And I wanted you to see that that's my inspiration fabric. And I didn't buy a whole bunch of it. I could have bought enough for the backing, but I decided let's wait and see how the fabric yardage goes, because I used EQ8 and they are very generous in their fabric yardage estimates. So I want to see how much I have left over, and I may piece the back. Oh, there are a lot of you out there. I love this. Excuse me. Let me see who's out there, and I can say hi to you. Oh, Carol. She says, sorry I'm late. Got to chatting with hubby over dinner. Oh, well, that is highly understandable and highly unusual. No. Say hi to him. Hi, Dean. Glad all you missed was the fact that we're on clue number 2 and we're making triangle squares. 2 different ones. They're going to end up being 3 inches long. I'm glad you're out there. Happy Friday. You deserve a break. She says, I'm just watching tonight. Carol is my prolific sister-in-law quilter. Hey, KB says, oh, KB, you're out there. Hello. My sister KB in Pennsylvania, she says, how funny. I also have a few rulers I have no worldly idea how to use. I know. You know, that would be fun, is to have like a day of just figuring out how to use them. Although I like to focus on building something. I don't like to just play for the sake of playing. But anyway, the Rex tool, and I'll forget it anyway. So I'm a learn as you need it kind of girl. And KB says, I always go back to the basic strip cuts. Amen. Me too. Okay. So, Carol also goes on to say oh my goodness, she's almost finished with another creation for the long arm division, quilting division of Simply Colorful. I love it. Send them on in. For anyone else out there, know that Simply Colorful, we do machine quilting services. So send your quilts in. Love to do it. Okay, so let's get sewing. I did cut out some fabrics. I hope you can see this. And I thought I'll sew these all together, chat a little bit. I actually have a couple of things I wanted to show you from last week that I forgot to show you from my quilting retreat. And I have a poem or poems, and I have that Living magazine. So we'll get to that in a minute. What I do is I'm going to strip piece. So the 2B blocks, these with the lighter colors, I only need 12 of those. So you know what? There's one of them. So I'm going to sew 11 of them right now. And I changed my thread to my darker gray. Okay. My dark blue. Okay. You know, you could, when you cut your strips, layer them by the colors you need. Like layer a strip of your 4 3/16 strip of your E on top of your D, and then cut it into squares and then do quarters, and then it would be all ready to sew. Like these, I did the wrong ones I piled together. I piled D and C instead of E. So now I'm having to go match up my different triangles. Just a thought. Because triangles, it's all about not stretching them, trying to keep them as square as possible and unwonky as possible. Oh, I had a boo-boo today using my rotary cutter. It was a very small boo-boo. But I used my Band-Aids that I got at the retreat that Deb sent, and they have little sewing machines on them. I thought you might get a kick out of that. Goes to show they have everything for us quilters. And let's see. So I'm really sorry about the mix-up on the pattern. As a result, I had to upload a new revised Clue 1, just again because of the size of the finished quilt. Everything else can stay the same. Everything you did last week works fine. It was just I put the wrong finished quilt size. But I felt bad. There I was late last night and early this morning redoing files. You know, I just felt like the names aren't quite consistent. I just didn't have time. I felt like a sloppy coder, if the truth be told. Okay. So after I do my 11, I am going to check and see who's out there. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to show everyone, check out my new ironing board. This came from Joyce in our quilting guild, and she made it from a piece of heavy duty, first top-notch quality wood, plywood, and then she covered it with some batting and some heat material, and then this off-white. I asked her for off-white so that I could see my blocks. In fact, we should just use it. And I love it. It's so big. I highly recommend this. KB, do you have one of these? If not, we may have to commission Joyce. If she's in that business. I don't know if she is. But I love it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, 11. Okay, now I want to press toward the dark. And this is where you can really stretch your triangles. So try not to stretch them, try to just press them up and down. I'm not a real good one to talk, though. I do like to move them around and press pretty hard, and I probably do stretch it. Oh, we get to clip our dog ears, too. Da, 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 da. Okay. So here we go. Whoops. And I don't think for this block it matters. It doesn't which side the D is on. What I mean by that is, see how some of them have the light on this side and some of them have the light on this side? That's okay. Do my last one here on my nice board. I hope where some of you are, it's either getting cool and a nice fall for those down under. And for those of us here in the Americas, I hope that you're getting some spring weather. I'm cutting the dog ears off here. It has been so cold here and rainy last weekend. Okay, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Okay. I wonder if I'm allergic to this. Okay, so here these are. I'm going to move these dark ones aside. And then take this unit and a big magenta one, big E. Line them up and sew them together. Okay, so I said I would check and see who's out there. Carol, I'm so glad you're out there. I hope you had a good week. Hey, Allie, speaking of Allie from Australia, hi. Allie says, I'm at my computer today so I can email. She says, I'm joining you late today, just in time to see all your rulers. Yes, I too have a ton of rulers and use doubles in the van. Exactly. Allie and her family travel around Australia for a lot of the year. If they're not in their RV, they're on a cruise ship or she's in her studio, and I just love to follow you, Allie. So thank you for sharing your adventures. And I love that you had double rulers in your van. She says, today I've got some more sorting and getting rid of clutter in the house. I hear you. Now I'm not working, don't need all this stuff. Just need my fabrics and sewing supplies. LOL. I know, right? She says, I'll hopefully get some sewing in later if I don't get too caught up with the family tree again. Ooh, last night I didn't get to bed until almost 2 a.m. I don't know where the time went, but I enjoyed doing my other passion, which is the family tree. Oh, that's great. Wow. She says, I've not done this. So do you do like ancestry and you trace yourself back? My neighbor, Bridget, does it. And she's been doing it for other people too. Allie goes on to say, I can't wait to start the mystery quilt. Hopefully before it is finished. It won't be a mystery then, LOL. Have a great week, FiberCasters, Allison. And she says, P.S. That's it. Thank you, Allie. I'm so glad you're out there and at your computer. Oh, Carol Bell. Hello. Carol says, this is the name of her post is Meditation and Quilting. She says, hi, Lynn and FiberCasters. Hope you have had a good week. This week, I've been able to get some sewing done and have managed to get my meditation quilt almost finished. I just have to put the 4 setting corner triangles and the border. Tonight, I've been quilting a top that I sandwiched a while ago. I'm not doing too bad. Hope to finish it this weekend. You get so much done, Carol. She says, maybe my short arm division will finally get caught up. I remember you writing to me saying, I wish I had a long arm division. You're so cute. Anyway, she says, I've just been listening to you talk about making and working with triangles, and I have to say that the best advice instructions I have seen has been from Bonnie Hunter during her mysteries. Ooh, do share. She says, I would also recommend a geese ruler because until I got mine, I could not make a quarter square triangle, even if my life had depended on it. Okay. So she says the best advice and instructions she's seen to do triangles has been with the Bonnie Hunter Mysteries. Good tip. She says, I hope everyone has a great weekend. We have been having lovely weather. Oh, good. She says, I've been seeing the big yellow ball in the sky for 2 days running. Oh, Carol in Yorkshire, look at this quilt. How fun is that? I love that, Carol. That's a beauty. And here is her short arm division. Happy at work. That's beautiful. I love that. Such bright yellows. Well, thank you for writing, and thank you for staying up so late. Okay, let us keep doing this. Wendy Alfred, I know, has been out there. She also is down under. And she has been into the, is it Mandela painting? The dot painting? They're mesmerizing. Speaking of meditative, you could look at those, whether they're rocks or they're hangings. They're beautiful. She and her children, I believe, will be selling them at a local place, fair, craftsman shop this week. So I will look forward to hearing how that goes, Wendy. And Crystal, your things are beautiful. And out in Minnesota, it is not spring, is it? It's like I talked to someone from Buffalo today who said it was a little sunny there today, and people were, but it was like 40 degrees, but still people were out in short sleeves thinking it was spring. If you're making the baby-sized quilt, these clues are not going to take you very long each week. So I might encourage you to up your game and go for a bigger size. Even if you bought the fabric for the baby-sized, maybe see how many more squares you can get for the lap-sized, or conversely for the big lap-sized. I want to welcome Jennifer as a new Patreon. Thank you, Jennifer. I know we did not do a live Patreon last week, maybe this week, but I can't guarantee. I'm going to Baltimore on Sunday, and I still have quite a bit of work to do tomorrow. So, and my flight is early on Saturday, on Southwest, no less. Wasn't that, so here in the Americas, we had a unfortunate incident where an airplane engine, one of the blades in the engine, we think, basically wore out. I think of it like a paper clip that you go like this over and over and over and over and over again, and then it breaks. I think that's what's happening to these fans in these big engines, jet engines, which is a lovely thought, isn't it? And it was Southwest, and I'm flying Southwest on Sunday to Baltimore, but what's the likelihood that anything will go wrong? Can't live your life in fear. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's definitely a lot of lint with this fabric. Okay. I'm going to stand up. Hopefully that's okay. Check out this ironing board. Woohoo! Okay. Just cut it. And then I pile it up. And I'll cut my dog ears in a minute. Only have to make 34 of the other ones for my baby quilt. Like I say, these clues don't take too much time. Once you get going, right? Okay. Isn't that pretty? So which unit is this? This is my unit 2B. And while I'm right here, I'm going to clip the dog ears. Dun, dun. So I had last week intended to read everyone a poem. I pulled out a book from Robert Frost poems from the library. And I must admit that when I was going through trying to find a poem, two things happened. Number one is, and I was looking for a spring poem, something to go with our spring fling idea. The book itself really has a lot more pictures of New England in the winter. So there are a lot of snow pictures and winter type themes. And I'll show you in a minute. Then I thought, well, find a poem that maybe talks about something fun outside that even you could do in the spring or the fall or whatever. And I discovered these Robert Frost poems are very, they're too complex for me. I am out of practice. So let me show you what I mean. And I know this is a quilting show, but you know how I like to mix things up a little bit and share things and read to you while we're all quilting. So this is a Robert Frost Versed in Country Things book. Now, Robert Frost was a Pulitzer Prize winning author. In fact, Robert Frost, who was born in 1874 and lived until 1963, authored 15 books, 4 of which earned a Pulitzer Prize. That's how skilled he was. So anyway, Versed in Country Things. This is a compilation of photographs by B.A. King, who actually is from Southborough, Massachusetts. But the cover should have told me this is really winter. And then in here, well, that's not really winter, but it's quintessential Vermont and New England pictures, which I just love. So they're probably sugaring there, going out with the horses and collecting the sap. There's someone playing in the barn. He's in shorts, so maybe let's see. What's this? So like I say, I went, and I don't know if Aunt Jane you're on, but I went and I tried to find a poem that I could relate to or understand or apply to quilting. And I have to tell you, it's very hard to find one. They're very complex. So let's just try one just for kicks. In fact, let's do it near this child who's playing outside. Looks like he's throwing stones, or he's got a ball. He's playing, hanging out. And this poem is called In Time of Cloud Burst. Let the downpour roil and toil. The worst it can do to me is carry some garden soil a little nearer to the sea. 'Tis the world-old way of the rain, when it comes to a mountain farm, to exact for a present gain a little of future harm. And the harm is none too sure, for when all that was rotted rich shall be in the end scored poor, when my garden has gone down ditch. Meaning, I guess it's been washed away. Oh, in time of cloudburst. So the clouds burst open and it rains. Okay. Some force has but to apply, and summits shall be immersed. The bottom of seas raised dry, the slope of the earth reversed. Then all I need do is run to the other end of the slope, and on tracks laid new to the sun, begin all over to hope. Some worn old tool of my own will be turned up by the plow, the wood of it changed to stone, but as ready to wield as now. May my application so close to so endless a repetition not make me tired and morose and resentful of man's condition. I kind of get that, I think. So it rains, everything gets washed away, you do it again. It rains, it gets washed away, you do it again. But your tools, even if they get rained on, still work. And that's as far as I can go. Okay, anyway, check out Robert Frost. I'd love to hear if you like his poems. And that's that. Okay. The Living magazine that I mentioned. Remember last week I was talking about green and the beauty of their cover? I don't know if you can see this, but my sister on last Saturday morning, she was in the supermarket and she texted a different picture of the Living magazine. So you may not see this one. You may have seen another one that had green also, but it looked different. But isn't that an idyllic setting? I love that setting. It's just so pretty. So that was what I was talking about. Anyway, let's get back to sewing. So we have 11 of these. These look a little big. My seam allowance, I think, might be... No, 3.5. They're okay. Okay. So there are those. Now, I have to use my dark one. And how many of these do I need? I need 34 minus 1, so I need 33. And you know what I'll do is I will measure these out so we can then cut a strip. No, I'll just keep going with this. So I have one more day here at home before I have to travel. So I've got some chores to do tomorrow. Cleaning. This house needs a good cleaning, that's for sure. Does anyone out there have a cockapoo dog? So it's a cross between a Cocker Spaniel and a poodle. I've been looking at them online, and they're very pretty looking. And they're smaller than a Wheaten Terrier, and I think a slightly different disposition. We had a Wheaten Terrier here that we rescued. I think maybe I mentioned it. Rescued it from a coworker, actually. But the dog was just frightened, and but I liked the terrier spirit, and he definitely seemed to be in tune more with the goings on than our labs. Our labs just kind of dump around. They're wonderful. I was just curious if anyone had a cockapoo. Bob's brother-in-law does, and he says he's a love. Okay. I'll do one more, and then I'm going to see who's out there. Let me see who's out there. Oh, love your pictures there, Carol. Okay. Oh, Sue Norton. Hi. Sue's going to save me on these Robert Frost poems. Sue says, "Oh, please read Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening." I will. She said, "I had to memorize this poem in 4th grade. It is burned into my memory. My mom and I worked on memorizing it for weeks before I had to recite it in class. Such good memories of my mom. Happy Friday to you and all the FiberCasters." Oh, isn't that great? I hope it's in here. Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. Nope, but we have the internet. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Okay. Under poetryfoundation.org. Here we go. This is for Sue Norton. Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Aw. Thank you, Sue. That's a good poem. I can wrap my head around that. I love it. Who else is out there? Kathleen, hello. She says, hi, Lynn and everyone. I finished clue 1. She says, darn triangles for clue 2. I'm sure I'll figure it out. Here's what I did. Oh, I love them. Oh, I love how you hold your strips. You should post that on the quilt along. I love that, how you hold them. And you have your ironing board right there. Very nice. And then there are her squares. Oh, yay, your 9 patches. I mean, I love your colors. Linda, hello, Linda. Linda says, I won't be able to tune in tonight. I wanted to see if you think my colors will work. Picture of the focal fabric again, too. Oh, I'd be happy to. Oh, Linda, those are beautiful. Okay, so check this out. Look at that focal fabric. Can you see how bright that is? Bright and orangey. So now let me look at your colors. Oh, they're beautiful. If the colors go together, it's going to look beautiful. And if they're varied in value, which those are, see how she is very light and very dark and some mediums. That's perfect. Aw, excellent. Well, keep on sewing. She says, I'm thinking the light pink may need to be a medium pink. Not sure. Thanks for all your help. Have fun tonight. Let's see, the light pink. Could that be a medium pink? You might, no, I think that's going to be okay. I am wondering, since you've gone with these other fabrics now, the gray that you turned into black. No, that'll still work. Nope, that'll work. Keep the black, and I think your pink is okay, that light. I guess maybe you could go a little darker on the pink if you had it handy, but that will work. Huh. Yay! I love this. I love this part. I was thinking, I had never, I'm sure people have done it, but don't you love this swatch idea? This just makes it so much easier. Hey, Anne! Speaking of spring flings, Anne posted her fabric and her swatches, and they look beautiful. Anne says, I've not had a lot of sewing time this week, but I have at least started. She says, I'm not even sure what size I'm making, so I'll have to try and work out how much fabric I have and which one I'm doing, LOL. Good, girl after my own heart. I'm really pleased with the first block. Not my usual color palette, but it's pretty fabric. Aw. I seem to have spent a lot of time this week running errands for my pregnant daughter. She started nesting, I guess. Her little girl is due June 1st, so I can't wait to meet her. Oh, that is exciting. It's exciting for both of you. That's wonderful. She says, apart from that, it's been the usual round of baking for the 2 community markets and school runs for my grandson. So I'm looking forward to some sewing this weekend. She says, I love seeing what everyone else is picking for their colors, and I'm excited to see how the quilts will develop. Hope everyone has a wonderful and crafty weekend. Love and quilty hugs, Anne from Guernsey. Oh, love that. Aw. And that's the green. That's the green on the Martha Stewart magazine. I love that color. Kathleen. Oh, beautiful. This is, she says, I finally found my fabric I like for the back. I only have 3.5 inches on each side, top and bottom, or 6 inches. I can add a leader. Oh, Kathleen is talking about her quilt that she's going to send to me to quilt. Oh, I love this. I'll read this later. Oh, and she's picked out her thread and her design. Thank you for sending this. I'll read it closely and I'll reply later tonight. Aw. Okay. Oh, I love this. Who's commenting on FiberCast? Oh, someone selling video managing services. Probably. I am too busy to think about that right now. I know that my videos could be much better, but we are just having fun. That's what this is about. Okay. How many of these do we have so far? Oh, it's a nice little flag set. Carol, I cannot believe you've almost got another quilt done. You hot ticket. I can't, I will have some good news for you in May with this travel. And then, what am I doing? I'm going to CKB with my mom. We're going to take a road trip. I've been taking an hour or two here and there, and I've been going outside when it hasn't been snowing or freezing. And most of the leaves are up from last fall. Both Bob and I have done some trimming or cutting back of limbs. Some of them I still can't reach, or some of them are still too big. But we're making progress there. Maybe what I'll do. Well, no, I'm just going to keep going rather than cutting. I'm on a roll here. Not much else is new around the pad. People have asked how Bob's doing, and he's doing great. He's busy working, and I've discovered, he's discovered that not only can he read in bed at night, he's discovered he can read in bed in the morning, which I find quite funny because I get up at anywhere from 4 to 6 a.m. and I sneak down to the kitchen and I have my breakfast and I have my coffee, and then I promptly, and I watch news, or this morning I watched Will and Grace, and I promptly fall back asleep on the couch. And then I've discovered I kind of wait for him to get up. And lately it hasn't been as early, it'll be 8 o'clock and I'll still be sleeping on the bed, and I'll think, Bob is usually up by now, and I'll go back upstairs and there he is reading in bed, throwing me off. Isn't it funny how we all get in our little patterns? So next week's clue will be sort of like this week's clue, but different, if that makes sense. And keep working on your other projects while you're doing this. We're going to have something very fun to show for this come Memorial Day. we are, I know one, speaking of dogs or the cockapoo, so let me go back to the cockapoo. We are taking care of our Bob's brother's dog and sister-in-law's dog from May 14th to 26th. And their dog is a combination of a Bichon Frise and a Yorkshire Terrier. Cute little dog and very kind. So that will be fun. Her name's Josie. She'll come live with us. So that'll be fun. There will be stories to be had there. I hope the little dog doesn't get into my quilting squares. It won't be like a cat that'll come up and bat them away. Speaking of which, speaking of cats, hi to Sandra. I hope you're well. I always see you watching Penguin and Fish when I'm watching Penguin and Fish. I love her. Two more. Okay. I guess using solids, even though I do like the look, it's interesting. It's not as much fun as when you're using scraps and you bring them to the table to iron and you see what the different scraps look like together. So that's kind of interesting. I just could not be happier than I am with this ironing board. How are we doing? I think it might be time to call it. Well, let me just keep going this a little bit more. I'll iron these open and then count them. So keep on working on your projects. Do all the errands that you all are doing, all the community service, all the exercise. I told you we're delivering the TBI quilts next Wednesday, so that'll be good. I'm going to pack them all up and have them ready to deliver next Wednesday, because I fly home that Wednesday morning. Almost done. Okay. And there we go. I hope you can see those. I think with that, let me just make sure I've said hello to everyone that wrote in. I really am so thankful that you all joined us. Hey, Sandra is out there. Hi, Sandra. She says, I'm just watching tonight, was sewing earlier, and the machine acted very ugly, so I quit. Oh, those machines. Tomorrow will be another day. She says, I understood the rain part of your poem, but that's about all. Thank you. It warms up here, rains, and then we get frost. I think we will go straight into summer this year. She says, I'm not doing the mystery, as I had a long conversation with myself as I thought about looking for fabrics, and I argued back and forth with me, and we finally had a truce and said, no, good for you. She says, I must finish one of my many UFOs I've so generously laid aside before I start a new project. So I'm just going to enjoy y'all's this time. That's wonderful, Sandra. Keep doing what you're doing. She says, have a great and safe trip. Hugs from Sandra in cold and warm Mississippi, depending on the time of day. I know, you blink and it changes, right? Aw, what a nice way to end FiberCast, Sandra. I'm so psyched that you're out there. Have a great weekend. And let's see. I think that's about it. Just keep sewing, everyone, and I'll see you back here. Is this true? Yeah, I'll be back home. I'll see you back here next Friday, and we'll work on clue 3. Bye, everyone. Happy sewing.